think it's safe to say that there was a lot of pressure put on Rian Johnson after J.J. Abrams' insanely popular and fairly well received 2015 film The Force Awakens, with it earning $2 billion. Yes, $2 billion. However, that film was criticised for clinging ever so tightly to the plot of A New Hope, which is a fully founded argument. It did not take as many risks as it could have and arguably should have. In comes Rian Johnson, of whom Kathleen Kennedy has said she has been dying to work with. JJ hands him the reins and the script for episode 8 and he tosses it over his shoulder. He's not making solely a Star Wars film, he's making a Rian Johnson film. With so much set up in the previous entry of who are Rey's parents, who is Snoke, who are the Knights of Ren, why has Luke got a beard and what has he been doing for all these years? After 2 years of theories and speculation, Rian Johnson comes in and says, Snoke who? Doesn't matter. Knights of what? Akbar? Luke's beard is glorious and he likes to drink milk. Leave him be. Rey's parents? They're nobodies.
They're filthy junk traders who sold you off for drinking money.
He wanted to surprise us. He wanted to tell his story and not feel the need to link every last piece of it to the existing universe for it to make sense or even have it be an advert for a future entry. While, yes, there are Easter eggs and callbacks to every era of Star Wars, with the casino reminiscent of the prequels.
I don't like sand.
And these goddamn beautiful moments.
R2? R2!
Master Luke.
It pays homage while standing on its own 2 feet. It says no, you don't need to be descended from a Skywalker to be powerful with the Force and a symbol for the light. It shows the Skywalkers as flawed, highlighting that they have always had moments of weakness, where they have given into a moment of anger, a moment of pain. This is nothing new. Luke isn't off just sulking on the island for years. He is punishing himself. He has gone to die because he cannot forgive himself for what he only for a fleeting moment was going to do.
I could stop it.
It passed like a fleeting shadow, and I was left with shame.
Throughout the film, it shows that moment from different points of view to show how everything is not so simple.
He had sensed my power, as he senses yours, and he feared it.
He went out there to die. So yes, when he sees the symbol of his past and who he once was, when he tried to take his nephew's life, he rejects it. Even though it is this very symbol that at the end of the film, it shows him to be synonymous with. By the time the credits roll, he himself has become this symbol, a legend.
Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master.
Snoke. The big bad calling all the shots from the shadows. He is finally revealed. While, as I so wrongly theorised, he is not a dwarf and compensating for this with his projection, he was indeed a strong screen presence, and Andy Serkis proves himself time and time again for being one of the best in the business. And Snoke looks absolutely brilliant. The motion capture is photorealistic. His height, gravitas, and power all make him an ominous threat. When it is revealed he was causing the FaceTimes, it only shows him to be even more powerful, without needing an expositional top trumps card when he comes on screen. People who are angry about Snoke not getting a backstory, I see where you're coming from, but a monologue would have only been a wink to the audience, and would not have suited the tone of these scenes at all. with Rey still not knowing who many of the main players are in this world.
Just a child. In a mosque.
That has always been a part of the charm of Star Wars. You are thrust into a lived-in galaxy, only with a snippet of the story that is being told in that given film. This is also why I feel like the Star Wars stories are not nearly as interesting as the main trilogy entries. While they have the potential to be, they are choosing on telling stories that fill in the gaps instead of striving out and being solely their own thing. But with Snoke, he does not need a backstory to serve this film. No one cared who
I was till I put on the mask.
Oh, sorry. No one knew who the Emperor was until the prequels, and while I do not overtly want a Snoke prequel, seeing Circus back as this character would be great. While Snoke could be brought back by saying it was a projection or he can cheat death, it would undercut the message of this film to the extent where then it would be made redundant. There are ways to bring both Hamill and Circus back, even if it is just a Force ghost. However, the death was an integral part of the film, and the arcs of those characters, or for the role that they play for others, as it's another piece to the puzzle for the most interesting and complex character in the whole saga, Ben Solo.
I want you to join me.
I am seeing a trend forming in modern cinema. It is a rejection of the One. The One was a trope that told the main character that they were special, they were important. Famously seen in The Matrix and so many other pieces of fiction, especially young adult fiction. It is a simple way of throwing a character into a new and interesting world and having them act as the everyman and give exposition to them and in turn the audience, only for them to become nearly a god by the end. It was even used in the original Star Wars with Luke. While there is no problem with this, there has been a lot of rejections of this as of late. Be it the One is not the main protagonist.
You imagined it was you. Oh, you did. You did. We all wish it was us. That's why we believe.
Or it is special simply because they are not special.
As a bunk bed, but as a couch. Introducing the double-decker couch. So everyone could watch TV together and be buddies.
That is literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Please, Wildstyle, let me handle this. That idea is just the worst.
A reason for this could be that the filmmakers have grown up on this idea of the One, or more tangibly, you can be anything you want when you grow up, and being shielded from certain aspects of life. And then when thrust into the world, they realise they are one of many, even when wanting to believe they're special. While I could be very wrong and completely overanalyzing this, it could still be a trend to be different and unique, with audiences wanting different stories than they are used to. I've seen many argue that Rian Johnson is not a Star Wars fan, and I could not believe this to be further from the truth.
God. As a congratulations for finishing.
Oh my God! You're kidding me! Finally! After all these years! Oh my God! Mine!
With this blue haze, the audience is immediately theorizing in their heads about who it could be. Obi-Wan, Anakin, but no, he brought back Yoda. Not CG prequel Yoda, but he took the time and care to use the same equipment that made the original puppet in Empire, and actually had Frank Oz there for the real rapport that can sometimes be vacant through CG. He was a crazy old man again. Yoda again.
Failure also. Yes, failure most of all. The greatest teacher, failure is.
It worked. Mark could not work with a CG character because it wasn't true to the Yoda Luke knew from Empire.
This moment in particular highlights the differences in J.J. Abrams' storytelling in contrast to Johnson's. Abrams is famous for his mystery
Look at like
box.
Star Wars, you got the droids, they meet the mysterious woman. Who's that? We don't know. Mystery box, you know. Then you meet Luke Skywalker, he gets the droid, you see the holographic image, you learn, oh, it's a message, you know, she wants to, you know, find Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's her only hope. But who the hell is Obi-Wan Kenobi? Mystery box. So then you go and he meets Ben Kenobi's uncle is Obi-Wan Kenobi, holy shit, you know. So it keeps it... Have you guys not seen that? It's huge.
To have the audience debate and be on suspense until the reveal can typically go one of two ways. Jaw-dropping and satisfying, or lackluster. I'm not saying either one of these ways is particularly right or wrong, or even better or worse, but I am, however, highlighting the difference. For example, Johnson teases the audience by building tension for only a relatively quick reveal or revelation during one film. By this, I mean he uses short setups and payoffs, or ones that last for that film, all contributing in a realization that aids in the conclusion of telling this story, rather than a whole series like Abrams. While The Last Jedi will not be a satisfying end of a trilogy, it has the luxury of not having to be. The middle of a three-part story is often said to be the best, with many examples of this being true. Though it would not be a great end of the trilogy, it felt so fresh because it did not feel like an advertisement for the sequel, and more its own story in and of itself as it concludes. It concluded Luke's story. It taught a lesson. It said that heroes get old and they die. In 2017 alone, we saw a number of icons die. Dying for what they believe in. Passing the mantle to the next generation.
This is what it feels like.
Which is important. Audiences have grown up with these heroes, and while seeing them go isn't easy, and while I still not have accepted Luke's death, at least we didn't have to see him bloodied and beaten with a violent demise. It was instead poetic. Beautiful. Looking out on the sunset, finishing his arc, but yet having his story live on. Letting the past die, killing it if you had to. So, to say that The Last Jedi doesn't matter, and Rian Johnson thinks that what have been once staples of the franchise do not matter, is ludicrous. It does matter. It just says that there are different aspects of this galaxy far, far away that we need to pay attention to. Although what was up with that casino bit? Yeah, that doesn't matter. I realised that this video was very one-sided, and I did not cover everything about the film. Full disclosure, I really enjoyed The Last Jedi, if you couldn't tell, and thought I'd produce more of a positive video battling some of the main criticisms I have seen towards it, that I believe to be somewhat unfounded. Although, if you'd like to see great analysis on some of the aspects that weren't so great for your not so positive fix of The Last Jedi, then this is a great video from Wisecrack. Other than that, this was my first video essay, and it was a lot of fun to make. Thank you for watching, and there'll be more content coming soon.